The story begins on a late and terrifying night. It is not normal to live in an apartment in Mexico. He was eagerly searching the computer for information about ancient scarab beetle. The information on the internet is messed up in every respect, and not only that. There are normal scientific facts in it. Nope. It contains ancient Egyptian myths with fear, but it is. He browses these things with concentration. He appears suddenly, a spray gun with 2 barrels behind it exactly. When Michael hears the sound, he turns around and finds his mother points the gun directly at him, and he tries. Desperately, he explains his position, but his mother refuses. You listen to him at all, and this makes him hold the scissors from the desk with an automatic reaction. She looked at Michael, who was lying on the ground. Aren't you? Biban had an expression of deep sadness on her face. However, before you even realize the sadness, Michael Ellie, it was clear that he was dead. He suddenly comes back to life. It opens a bug at the end, as if there is something trying. She escaped from inside his body, and the scene moved after that. For the suburbs, Mexico, and there is a girl coming down from second floor window in a townhouse apartment. She is taking advantage of the fact that her mother does not have a husband. In her mind, the girl is being dragged out of the house through descend the external fire escape and go to a restaurant. Young to meet her friend, the girl Anthem. Her name is Caroline. Last week, Caroline accidentally fell from the floor above. This is why she hasn't been to school for a while. That's why I arranged this interview with Caroline in secret. And despite her mother claims that her father slipped and fell over Caroline, she said when he rang that her father was actually upset. From the stairs, through her little brother, he comes out. Its people were fighting in the attic for a long time. Day, and his brother, their father, trying to leave the fight. The father started to lose his balance and started tragic death. When I first got home, Caroline, you see May having a normal chat with her mother. Jules is outside the house when she sees May. They're home again. Caroline Pepin's expressions on it. She was clearly upset as she walked to her room. Unless you say hello, because Caroline is being so cold about her mother. She was in a relationship with Mai, because of this relationship. Her father was really getting into fights with her mother. Before he died, the night his father fell ill, he fell down the stairs by accident. This exact fight, while she was looking at her daughter. Far away from her, Jules Pipin has an expression of scarcity. The trick, because things are at home. She became confused. Very close to the tragic accident of Josa. Caroline, who was always cheerful, has transformed completely for someone else. Even her brother Dom. He became unnaturally quiet and introverted. When May sees Jules, she sighs. She is upset and asks you to talk to her about comforting her. She responds that Caroline is just suffering for me. Shan accepts her father's sudden death. And it's most likely you will get better as soon as possible. Jules. Completely agree. This is logical, however. Jules, who is worried, has no idea that anything is wrong. A lot of horrors are waiting at the door this night. Especially when Caroline is asleep, she wakes up terrified for me. A cracking sound, and this makes her run downstairs, and I thought that a thief broke into the house, but then I did not go well in the hall and kitchen. I didn't find anything. A pure unnatural need. And in the time when Caroline begins to think that she is certain I heard wrong, she spots her pet cat being chased. Scarab beetle, the sound that happened a while ago. It was simply because the kitten was knocked up. Caroline didn't think about her plate of food by chance. There is a lot in the matter, so hurry the dish and turnip because she goes back to her bedroom and it's early in the morning. The next day, Caroline rides the school bus. You don't do anything normal, and at the same time, Jules. She begins to like the house as she unfolds the bed sheets. Jules discovers a scarab beetle resting on bed. Caroline grabs the blanket to hold on the insect, but as soon as Jules approaches, there is a sound. A huge boom is suddenly heard from below. She thinks that her son is a dom. Of course, Jules signed. She quickly runs down the stairs to the bottom. But why? When you reach the hall, you find Dom sitting as normal as ever. On the sofa, as if nothing had happened at all. The issue is that her son just wants to watch. The TV is fine until you turn it on with some cartoons. But Jules, while she is twisting herself to walk, does not scratch. Her mind is pure. Dom's eyes are still strangely shaped. Unnaturally, as soon as you reach the end of the stairs. Bulls see themselves in another league. She gets insect spray to kill the scarab. But the insect gets stuck and enters through the opening, under the basement door, and quickly kicked her out. But why? She enters the basement and is met with a terrifying scene. Seriously, why? You see the poor cat hanging in the vein of the ceiling. Jules remembers that this is one of Caroline's clients. She goes to confront her daughter and interrogates her immediately. First, Caroline doesn't come back from school. But Caroline, she has no idea at all about the matter. She says maybe Dom is the one who did this. Jules refuses to believe her and remains completely convinced that Caroline is the one who did this. Caroline, why? She sees that her mother does not trust her, so she checks. Her nerves are damaged, and she returns to her room and closes the door with the key. Is fine. But the events that, with fear, I still haven't come to, and after that. Caroline is getting some sleep. The same scarab beetle. She appears on her bed again, the scarab crawling along the path from the bed leg to Caroline's bug. Immediately, Caroline wakes up terrified and thinks she is a body. The bed is spinning for a while. But the strange thing is that the door was locked, with a bolt from the outside, and inside open it. Impossible. She was completely terrified while running the window to get out of. But you discover that the window is also closed with nails. Then she started struggling to breathe, and then she faints and falls to the ground. After a while, the door to the room finally opens. His little brother Dom. He carefully inserts his head when he sees his sister falling on the ground. He still goes to check on it. But Caroline suddenly started convulsing madly. And when Caroline opens her eyes again, it was still morning, early on the next day. When Caroline finds herself on the ground and feels she's a little dizzy, assuming that's what happened. Last night was just a nightmare. And it passes. And when you realize that it is. Caroline was almost late, so she didn't hesitate to wash her face and take her backpack, and she was running on the school bus. But, during the middle of the class, Mom calls her because she saw that she died with someone on her back. Behind her shoulder, Caroline looked behind her. And finally, you discover that it hurts. It ran strange on her skin. But, before Caroline followed, she examined him intently. The teacher notices that she is not paying attention. When you listen, the teacher squealed. She wasn't focused. Caroline couldn't answer at all. This makes me. School. Her mind is frozen. After that, the teacher even. Her mother's nut is hard to complain. And it is permissible for what? She hears that her daughter is not concentrating in class. Caroline is shaking from their first and new. Her mother. Why should I leave Caroline? You think it's more miserable. After I didn't finish dinner, Caroline goes to her room. She slept for a long time, but with time. Sunset May was riding her motorcycle. And you find Caroline standing in the middle of the road. Exactly, her eyes were expressionless, and she was holding a mask. Cow fishing line, the first thing. Almost. To check on her, Caroline suddenly fell. May, terrified, quickly brought her home. And Jules, when I found out that Caroline snuck out the house again, remains very angry about the situation. But May thinks that Caroline didn't go out on purpose. In fact, she was walking in her sleep. She read in a book that people often they are asleep when they are under pressure. I'm very emotional, so Jules advises her. She turns to Caroline's therapist. When I heard May, Jules' words make her very disappointed. Because her son supported his depression, he was really depressed. Because of the death of her husband and son. It's not easy yet. Her daughter is now showing similar symptoms. This brings Jules to the brink of collapse early in the morning. The next day, Jules takes her daughter to the hospital, as long as she gets tests done. However, in the text of the examination, the doctor suddenly. He likes the tattoo on Caroline's ankle. Caroline looks down and realizes that it is the tattoo. It was on her back, shifting in a strange way to her leg. Without knowing it, she quickly hides her leg while she is. She is so terrified that her mother might see him, but why? Caroline looks under the tattoo again and it disappears. Strange, and this scene has no explanation. It makes her very confused, and because she is afraid she will be shaken. Again, don't accept to say a single word about the topic. After completing the medical examination, Caroline runs. She returns to school to attend class only. Halfway through the class, Caroline suddenly feels a feeling. Terrible disgust as she looked at the student in front of her. She actually goes about attacking her colleague. Once with a small knife, but first Caroline. She returns to reality and everything around her is back to normal. Completely. These are unexplained hallucinations. It's impossible for her to prefer Hadia, so that's why. After class, Caroline goes to the bathroom to wash her face. She calms herself down while washing her face and notices. If you say he disappeared, he appeared again. Right now on her neck exactly, and yet first. Laura didn't pull the collar of her shirt to make sure. The tattoo disappears into the air in a strange way again. And at this exact moment, Man entered the bathroom. Caroline also tells me she didn't ring me. All the strange things I encountered in the days. The latter, and it is doubtful that there might be an entity wearing it. But don't believe this at all. And she says, Caroline joked that she was going to see a church. Because the pastors are always the ones who conduct sessions. Exorcism in movies. When I heard a suggestion. Man Caroline indeed. I found it very logical. So I went to the local church and met the priest. But when Cece says that there is literally a demon has been living inside her priestly body all along. He advises him to go see a doctor at the main hospital. He even asks Sister Speranza to come. Caroline makes her home safe, Jules. When you see the nun delivering her daughter home, Biban. She is very sad, but for the first time. You are preparing to walk. A terrifying scream is suddenly heard. From above, the nun runs upstairs and meets Dom. Base climbed to the ceiling in a state of complete terror. She also looks up to find out. It shocked her that Caroline was pinned to the ceiling as if I sucked it in. She was watching her daughter. She cramps non-stop. Jules, you remain amazed. Totally. With the help of Sister Speranza Pasillo. Caroline and they put her on the bed with Sister Speranza. She asks Jules to go get some water. But the moment Jules gets lost because Caroline walks and suddenly started having convulsions. She speaks, but the one speaking is not Caroline. This is the devil himself. The devil warns Esperanza, in a strong tone, she doesn't interfere with me. It's happening here, otherwise, he will make her pay a price. Expensive. Before Esperanza could say a word, Caroline faints again as Esperanza runs quickly back to the church. She wants to answer. The priest comes to see what's going on. But, as soon as you come back, you discover that the priest. Reality on the ground, and at this time, and in house Carolyn Hickman realizes that there is a demon. It may be living inside her body, looking around. The internet, she wants to see if there is anything. Possible solutions while browsing a forum post. From the forums, you discover an exorcist named Professor Desmond who says he can. He sees entities that ordinary humans cannot. They see it. She is watching Desmond's interview. Caroline kept eagerly wanting to send him a message. Especially at this moment you notice that you're a scarab that just appeared again. A strange lump on her face makes Caroline completely tired. This makes her run to the bathroom, and there she will be discovered. The tattoo actually moved to her cheek. Caroline held on. A small knife was nearby and wanted to dig. This thing comes out of her cheek all the time. The terrible pain. Jules forced her to let out a loud scream. When I heard the shower running immediately. She too. In the bathroom, as soon as you enter you see Caroline. He fell to the ground and drowned in her blood. Jules is a worker who constantly sticks a dagger in herself. She remained completely terrified, so she took her daughter, Yari Ali, the hospital, but after the doctors did an examination, comprehensive for Caroline, completely failed. They are trying to find anything. Pure insects, and there is Jules in the hospital hallway. She accidentally stumbles into Sister Speranza and comes out. The priest has an illness that has no cure, and now they give him emergency resuscitation in the hospital. Why? Caroline sees Esperanza drowning in her wounds. She gives her a Bible and advises Jules that she should take it. Caroline of the city's great cathedral, because the chief priest there really knows. How? Does he only do exorcism sessions? Because are their families not Christians? Jules rejects the proposal with all politeness, and when I returned home, Caroline remembered the interview the other night. She missed it, so she called Desmond hoping he would. He helps her expel the devil from her body. Caroline, she thought at first that it would take time. It's been a long time since she got a response that surprised her. Desmond actually shows up at her house that same day. Afternoon, he just takes one look and knows there is a demon intruding on a body. Caroline, she looks at the past. Dalash is strict. Jules, she also feels a wave of terror. And despite, she still can't believe there is such a thing as that. Demons. But she still wants to leave Desmond. He tries. On Desmond Caroline's instructions, you drink what they call holy water. There is no time. Long. Caroline's mind became confused and she went into deep sleep in bed. But Desmond, he doesn't do it. Pure exorcism. When he saw Caroline waking up, suddenly Desmond is terrified. Mama finds out that Desmond is there. Not an exorcist or an exorcist. This is just great fraud. He used to laugh at the girls and leave them alone. They drink drugged holy water, and then he takes advantage. Opportunity is something that devours them and is under their control. Satan. Desmond comes downstairs, his eyes wide open. There is no expression, and he holds a kitchen cleaver from on the table and cutting fingers. He personally is bulls. When you see that Desmond doesn't have any response, a pure act of pain causes her to be completely shocked, and this makes her feel pain. Quickly dials Sister Speranza's number to make an order, including helping in exorcising spirits, but the Sister Speranza is currently in charge of the hospital's foundations. That's why you can't come except at night. Jules has no solution. However, she is waiting for me. The house. At this exact moment, it won't arrive. Caroline's house. It turns out that after she heard a story, Caroline came back and looked around for a while this day. Information, and I discovered in a post that you will return. Randa, it's not just an ordinary drawing, but this is a curse. An ancient and evil Egyptian, once a scarab. He owns someone. This person's life force. It slowly withdraws until he dies. Totally. If you want to get rid of the devil, the only way is to fire him just because. None of them are politicians, so they have no idea. Pure. How do they conduct an exorcism session for Caroline? Because she is terrified that she will hurt her family. I was locked on herself in the basement. And at this moment, her eyes came to a can of custom insect spray. She decided to make a bold move for good luck. Dosage. Caroline wasn't fatal, she just fainted. Jules took her off and took her back to her bedroom. And after, Caroline didn't feel like Sister Speranza. When she finally arrives home, Jules assumes that the Sister Speranza can cast out the devil, but only the nun. Jules tells me that she doesn't have high hopes because she not a professional exorcist. Then on, Speranza walks into Caroline's room and stands a cross chain around Caroline's neck, and then she took out a Bible and began to pray, but only after. Speranza didn't finish reading Caroline, and she didn't appear. No reaction. When I heard what nun Caroline Pepin said to her is that it is not. She finds something to say, but suddenly an idea comes to her. Caroline takes out a dagger from her backpack and frowns violently towards her stomach. She personally, but at the moment of the dagger, Caroline was saved. The devil is hidden inside her body and wakes up. Finally, When Esperanza saw Caroline's eyes, they turned for dark eyeliner. By holding the holy water from above, the table is reading the Bible again, and she is trying. Desperately, she performs an exorcism session, but the devil. Suddenly he takes control of Caroline and makes her run outside. The house is along Speranza, walking along behind her. The road finally reached the water tank, which is close to the area, and it is still coming out. Caroline had actually reached the top. The tank. Caroline opens the tank cover and jumps out along the opening and is in good condition. Complete disorientation. You hear the devil's call. It comes out. This demonic creature is not here to harm Caroline, but he's actually bitter. Deep Caroline, that's exactly why. Let it stick to her body, the entity can help. Totally Caroline. She gets rid of her bitterness. What is engraved inside it, but in return it is. She devoured the souls of her victims at the same moment. Exactly. Sister Speranza is coming too. She succeeds in pulling Caroline to the outside, and in the moment, Caroline coughs and produces a strange mass of urine. Something happened to Caroline while she was watching.